The law of detachment gives us a way of drawing conclusions from if-then statements. It says, suppose that you're given an if-then, if P then Q. Here I've shown it with the arrow symbol. P with the arrow to Q means if P then Q. It's sometimes read as P implies Q, but it means if P then Q. So suppose we have if P then Q, and we also know that P is true. We're allowed to conclude Q is true. We're going to go through a series of examples here. So suppose you are given the two statements. If you are in this class, then you go to Edgewood, and you are given, so you're given this part in the box here, and you are given that Jim is in this class. What conclusion can we draw? You might want to pause it right now and think about it. I'm going to go ahead and give the answer. Since Jim goes to Edgewood, and it says if you're in this, since Jim is in this class, and it says if you're in this class, then you go to Edgewood, we've matched the if part, and that's the key thing to detachment. If you match the hypothesis, the if part, you may conclude the conclusion. We may conclude that Jim goes to Edgewood. Start abbreviating a little bit, EW for Edgewood. Okay, next. Suppose that we're given the stuff in black up there, that if you're in this class, then you go to Edgewood, and we know that Bob is not in this class. Does the law of detachment allow us to draw any conclusions? Again, we're going to pause here and think about it for a minute. Okay, supposing you've done that. Notice we did not match the if part. So the law of detachment does not allow us to draw a conclusion. We simply, in this case, say that there is no conclusion. If we think of this logically, knowing that he's not in this class, maybe he's somebody else at Edgewood and does go here. Maybe he's just some guy down at the 7-Eleven that doesn't go to Edgewood. We just don't know. So we can't draw a conclusion. Let's look at another one. Here I've got a couple on the same page. Let's do it with the one at the top. It says, if you're in this class, then you go to Edgewood. And we know that Sally, in fact, goes to Edgewood. Can we draw a conclusion as to whether she is in this class or not? Again, pause it. Okay, back from the pause. Well, she might be someone in this class. She could be here. But she could also be an Edgewood student that doesn't happen to have this class. So again, we can draw no conclusion. We did not match the if part. In our last one here, it says, if you're in this class, then you go to Edgewood, and we're going to combine that with, Tim does not go to Edgewood. So pause it and see if you can draw a conclusion. Okay, back from the pause. Well, this time we actually can draw a conclusion. But it's not directly through detachment. Well, it's detachment combined with the contrapositive. Now, we did not match the if. But if you remember what the contrapositive says, the contrapositive would say, if you don't go to Edgewood, then you are not in this class. So what we've matched is the if part of the contrapositive. We may conclude the then part of the contrapositive, which would be that Tim is not in this class. Okay, so that's detachment. Basically, other than this contrapositive exception at the end, to use detachment, you must match the if part of the hypothesis of your if-then statement. If you do, you may conclude the then part. Otherwise, no conclusion may be drawn.